Good morning, everyone. Father Sean here with your morning message out in the backcountry of Philmont this morning. I am at the Philmont Reservoir. One of the reservoirs here on Philmont stores drinking water, but it also happens to store fish. And so I brought some fly fishermen out here this morning who are enjoying that. Some of our families who join us for Family Adventure Camp over at the Philmont Training Center have come out this morning to see if the fish are biting. And, being from Kansas, I have done some fishing, but mainly just ponds and things, fishing for bass. And from the time I was young, I went out with my grandpa who took me fishing, and he would, put a little worm on my hook and let my little bobber go out, and I just, kind of sit and watch. Well, here in the mountainous country of Philmont, it's a little more technical than that. A lot of fly fishing going on because these are trout. And I knew a little bit about fly fishing, but we don't do it a whole lot in Kansas. So I've kind of been sitting in with there's actually a fly fishing training course going on right now. And I took those guys out here to the reservoir this morning to do some fishing. And, I think there's a lot of good overlap, obviously, with fishing and our faith. Jesus called his apostles, and a lot of them were fishermen. In fact, that's the big thing that finally converted St. Peter to follow Jesus, that they were fishing all night, of course, on the Sea of Galilee and couldn't catch anything. And Jesus told Peter famously, throw your net over the other side of the boat. And he did. And he had a huge catch of fish. And immediately after having the best catch of fish in his life, well, he left his boat and all his fishing equipment and followed Jesus. And Jesus famously told Peter, from now on, you will be catching men. I will make you a fisher of men. Now that goes not just for St. Peter and the apostles, but I think there's a lot of overlap with fishing in the way we would spread our faith. Most importantly, these guys that have come out here to do the fly fishing this morning, yesterday when I found them, they were practicing the technicalness of casting. They were actually practicing on the lawn how to cast their fly rods. But then I found them in the classroom, and they're all bent over learning how to tie flies. Because one of the most important things you got to do if you're going to fish, well, you got to know what the fish are eating. What are they hungry for? What are they biting on? And so a lot of the art of fly fishing is actually fly tying, trying to figure out, what is attractive to the fish. And then you got to learn the mechanics of how to get that little fly that you tied right out to where the fish are and how that works. And I especially like seeing them do it in the streams. Today they're starting on a reservoir. I'm going to go some of the streams. The North Fork Uraka Creek flows right in through here. That's what makes the reservoir. I'm on the dam right now. And then it continues to flow down the canyon here. But most importantly, you got to find out, what are the fish interested in? Now, there is a great example for us in our faith. You want to go out and you want to tell people about Jesus. Great. Realize that your story and what attracted you to the faith, well, that may not be the same thing that would attract other people. You got to find out what people are biting on. And that's been changing for 2,000 years. There's a certain part of the human condition that is the same. And then there's a certain part that responds to the needs of the times. Right now, we know that there are more and more people who identify themselves with not any religion at all. They will maybe say that they're spiritual, but not religious. All right. Well, that's just the way it is. And so we can kind of throw up our arms and say, society's becoming less and less Christian. Well, that may be true, but that's like, blaming the fish for not biting on what you're casting. Well, you got to change your lure. What is it that society most needs right now? Well, I think deep within the heart of everyone, people are desiring connection still. They want to be connected with people. Certainly our faith does that, brings people together. But maybe people are looking for meaning. What's it all about? Why are we here? Why is any of this here? Why are we attracted to such beauty? I immediately popped up on the dam today and brought the people out, and I looked at the beautiful reservoir that you see behind me, and we've got Trail Peak behind me, that mountain that I talked about the other day that I was up on. There it is, up behind us. Why is it that I pop out and I look at that and I say, wow, that's really beautiful. There's something that people can bite on, beauty. There's something that's an attractive lure, I think, because people don't want to know as much today about, what's true? Don't tell me your truth. What's true for me might not be true for you. All right, well, that's philosophically ridiculous, but that's a hard battle to win. You have to get deeper for that. What's good, what's morally right? Well, a lot of people want to do what's morally right, but can't agree on what that is. But beauty, well, I don't have to do much work as a chaplain, except bring people out here into the beautifulness of the backcountry of Philmont and say, hey, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And there's something that in the human heart that bites at that. That's a good lure. to say, wow, that's beautiful. And now why do I care? You know, in base camp, I got deer running all over the place, and, you know, they just eat here. The fish, certainly in the reservoir, they don't care. They just swim. But man, we get out here, human beings, we look at this and say, well, that's beautiful. And just at that moment, there's a little bit of the lift of the heart that says, why is that beautiful? It's just a bunch of trees and water that happens to pool up here. Why am I attracted to that? There's a good lure. Because you start asking those questions. One of the most important philosophical and religious questions you can ask is, well, why? Why is this here, and why do I care about it, and why does it make me think, wow, that's beautiful and I want to come here? You figure out the answer to those questions, now you're starting to nibble at God. And it won't be too long, you start nibbling at what's beautiful, and you're hooked. And the good news is, Jesus might take us out of the habitat we're used to. The fish like living in the water. They can't live out of the water. The good news is that when we get hooked on Jesus, he might pull us out of our environment that we're comfortable in and move us to one that is beyond even our imagining, that is even going to be better. Fish can't imagine anything outside of that reservoir behind me. Perhaps you are stuck in your own environment and can't imagine anything outside of it. What's the lure that gets you? And more importantly, what's the lure that might get other people to latch on so that Jesus can take us out of the little tiny reservoir that we're used to and give us a whole new outlook on life? And when you get that, he says, now go catch other people. Behold, I will make you fishers of men. That's our call. But if we're going to be a good fisher of men, find out what people are biting on. Try to find that out, give that to them, and a whole new world opens up for you and them and all of us, that new life in Jesus. This has been Father Sean with your morning message from the Philmont Reservoir this morning. Happy fishing, and God bless you.